Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look at a new one that just came in today, Blackhorse, and this is a game that is designed by Arrigo Valliconia and is published by Tiny Battle Publishing. It is a great time to be a hypothetical World War III wargamer because we're seeing continual releases covering this hypothetical conflict, and it is fantastic. This one will begin shipping this week, so if you haven't placed your order yet, jump in now and get the pre-order price. It will start shipping, I believe, on Wednesday, and I hope to get this video up prior to that. So let's take a look at the back of the box and see what this game's all about. Summer 1989. The Iron Curtain is not coming down. Tensions are high. Will war return to Europe? Blackhorse is a grand tactical game of furious mechanized command in the summer of 1989. Units are companies and platoons. Hexes are 1,000 meters across. Turns are 3 hours each. Using an innovative system emphasizing friction and the importance of command and control, Blackhorse puts the player in the shoes of the commanding generals of the Soviet 79th Guards Tank Division and an array of U.S. units drawn from the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment and the 3rd Armored Division. Cold War has turned hot. Will you be up to the task? You can see an example of the map and the counters there, as well as down here. And at the bottom we see some of the playtesters in this game, Mitch Land, Bruce Maxwell, along with several others. So this game has definitely been in the right hands for modern combat. So let's take a look inside and see what we get. All right, we have our D10 rulebook, counter sheets, player aid cards, and our map. So let's set up the map and take a closer look at the game. And here's a look at the map that comes with the game. It is a beautifully done map, 17 by 22 inches, so small enough footprint to not take up a lot of space, but big enough to give you a good feel for maneuver across the map as you move to engage each other. Start off here with Fulda, and you get to the inter-German border on the right-hand side. Along the top, you have the turn track, and it goes up to day 4, so you're going to be going in 3-hour increments with each turn as you move along, which I think is pretty cool. You got big cities here, you got the Autobahn, you got primary and secondary roads, clear hills, woods, a good amount of different terrain to have to deal with as far as your maneuver, and then when it comes to combat effects. So really like the look of this, can't wait to get this one on the table. Next, we'll take a look at the player aids that come with the game. On the left-hand side, we have the U.S. formation status card. On the right, we have the Soviet formation status card. This is where you're going to keep track of all the different units, artillery and helos, as well as whether they're reorganized or not, and the command track for each side. Next, we have the terrain effects chart, which lists out all the different types of terrain in the game, along with graphical representation, giving you the movement cost modifiers, as well as any combat modifiers. On the right-hand side, we have the order summary. And on the back, we have the airstrike generation table, combat results table, and the snafu table. Next, we'll take a look at the counter sheets that come with the game. On the first sheet, we have U.S. forces, and then the start of the Soviet forces at the bottom. On the next sheet, we have the remainder of the Soviet forces. And on the last counter sheet, we have the administrative counters, along with some U.S. forces on the bottom. And lastly, we'll take a look at the rules. This is a 38-page full-color rulebook. Starting off on page 1 with the table of contents listing out all the rules and their associated page numbers. That carries over to the next page. Then we start off with the introduction, the components, your map, combat units, units and markers, all that's explained to you. Being that it wasn't on the back of the box, just going to give you a listing of what's in the game. You get a 17 by 22 inch map, 264 counters, 2 formation status cards, 2 player aid cards and tables, a rule book, and 1 10-sided die, which we've already seen all of those, but I wanted to give you the listing of each of the components. Breakdown of all the different types of units that are in the game and how to read the counters, formation and status cards, important concepts, armor rating, command range, direct and general support, disruption, engagement status, formation, hard targets, order, snafu, soft targets, Soviet player stacking, superior headquarters, unit ID, U.S. player, and vehicles. Then we have the sequence of play on page 7, initiative phase, command and control phase, headquarters and formation status cards, your formation status cards, superior headquarters, initiative modifier, general support artillery, superior headquarter movement and mode changes, headquarter modes, headquarter status, headquarter range, NATO cross attachment, command capacity recovery, snafu table. Love the sound of that. That's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure. Orders in the order phase. You have your orders phase here. It gives you text examples, passing, order procedures, movement, movement orders, movement modes. You have deployed mode, tactical mode, march mode. Those are the 3 modes that you have in the game. Then we get to movement procedures, bridges, river, rubble, roads, Autobahn. And then we have an illustrated example for that here. Fire combat, another illustrated example for that. Line of sight, armor piercing fire, AP fire modifiers table, Soviet AT-8 Cobra, fire combat results, HE fire modifiers, HE modifiers table. And we get into the HE fire combat results, reaction fire, and then some examples of AP and HE fire here. Combat results in rally, disruption, rally, step losses, assault combat, assault procedure, retreat, artillery, direct support and general support batteries. Command check, call for fire order, artillery firing procedures, artillery fire modifiers, move orders in artillery, helicopters, movement orders, fire orders, rally and resupply, helicopters as targets, helicopters and command range, airstrikes, airstrike orders, airstrike procedure, anti-aircraft fire. And then we have Stinger missiles, recovery and cleanup phase, rest and resupply, command recovery, reconstitution, recombination, refitting, and then map cleanup. There's also night turns as well that are covered. And that carries all the rules up to page 25. After that, we got scenarios. So you got good sized text and nicely spaced, easy to read. 25 pages of rules should not be difficult to read through this rule book and get it on the table. It says here there are 4 scenarios and 1 campaign game in Blackhorse. Scenario 1 is an introductory scenario postulating an out-of-the-barracks sneak attack. Scenario 2 and 3 are snippets of the campaign game. And Scenario 4 is the whole campaign game covering the first few days of the 79th Guards Tank Division's attack towards Fulda. So you get 3 scenarios and then the campaign. But I like the idea of having 3 different scenarios and then the campaign itself for the whole thing. It's going to give you a breakdown of the entry axis, your different weapons, and the different munitions you're going to be using. Then we get into Scenario 1. Here they come. Gives you the backstory here, the start length, U.S. setup first, reinforcement schedule, Soviet setup second, and their reinforcements, your special scenario rules, and then the victory conditions. Scenario 2, Steel Dawn, the 79th attacks. Same thing as we saw with the first scenario. Scenario 3, fix, pivot, and punch. And then we get to Scenario 4, the early morning of war, the battle for Fulda. That's going to give you the whole situation here. You get the same background, and then you have all the special scenario rules, all the information, all the way up to the victory conditions. Then we have designer's notes on page 33, explaining the game system, units, counters, and rules, strategic setting, and then we have the bibliography on page 37, as well as the credits. Then we have the U.S. cross attachment sheet on page 38, and a blank couple of pages, and we are at the back of the rulebook. And that is a look at everything you get inside of Blackhorse. This is a game designed by Arrigo Valaconia and is published by Tiny Battle Publishing. Well, I love to see Tiny Battle Publishing continue to expand their box line. Not only do they have Ziploc games, but now they've got some games in boxes, and it's really fantastic. Really like the look of this game. I was excited about it when it was first announced, and then heard about it, and then it kind of went off the radar, and then it came back on. All of a sudden, Mark posts and says, hey, it's coming out. And thank you, Mark, for sending me a copy. I really appreciate getting a quick first look at this. This will get on the table pretty fast. You know me, I love modern hypothetical stuff, and this is definitely right up my alley. 25 pages of rules, so not a huge rule book to get through, but there's a good amount of meat in this game to keep you interested and to keep you thinking as you play, whether it's solitaire or head-to-head with somebody. But it seems like it's going to be simple enough to pick up pretty quick, but got enough layers to keep it interesting, which I really like. So looking forward to getting this one on the table, and this is available now. So if you've not gotten your order in, do so now. I think they still have the pre-order price up there, and you can save a few bucks, and you will have this in time for Christmas. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you've been curious about this one. If If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.